I remember in 2016 when you saw a lot of independent voters and a lot of other voters who supported Trump saying, I like him because he says things for how they are, right? And that very point that he speaks his mind. But I do believe, if you are the
Yeah, like
sitting
with
president
Robert
of the United
Mueller. Did you see
States,
what he said
yeah,
about that? Sorry to interrupt you, Sean. I just was thinking, like, he said when he heard that Robert Mueller, who's like combat veteran, Purple Heart winner, Bronze Star winner, served his country. He said when it was announced that he died, he said, "Good, I'm glad he's dead."
Yeah, I'm not gonna go and do the argumentation for that one.
You
I don't think
cannot.
it's
You cannot.
appropriate. And even if he did have legitimate grievances with the guy, obviously celebrating death of anybody probably is not a good idea. But
And
he
he
should at
won't like
least
put the flags
maybe
at half mast like he
maybe.
wouldn't for John McCain. It's
I mean, okay, so that's a different issue. Okay, maybe he doesn't put the flag at half mast, but at least articulate the reasons why you have a division with them, but you don't have to celebrate the death. Anyways, but
See, there is a congressman who was willing to break ranks with Donald Trump, a Republican congressman called Kevin Kiley,
well, he's
who,
not a Republican. He's an independent now.
well, as of what day? March the 9th, he walked into the clerk of the United States House of Representatives and had it changed on the official roster. And he is now the sole independent member of the House of Representatives of the United States of America. He is one of 435. He narrowed the Republican majority with that move to 217 Republicans to 214 Dems. He's saying he's still going to caucus with the Republicans, but he joins a very select small group of people who have ever done this. And so we break that down in Independent Voter News this week.
Right, which isn't unusual. You got Angus King and Bernie Sanders, who are independents, but they caucus with the Democrats in the Senate. Right. But I'd like to point out that although independents are 45% of the electorate, and we're moving up, have 0.25% of the United States Congress. So go Kevin Kiley.
0.25. All right. That's better than 0.00. But what precipitated Kiley's move was that the gerrymandering that went on in California as a result of Prop 50, right? So the 3rd congressional district and the 6th congressional district have completely gotten redrawn. So half of the 6th congressional district that Kiley is now deciding to run in is gone. Half those voters are gone. So,
which just goes to showing how this gerrymandering battle is so self-defeating to when you're talking about the better representation. I mean, the person that's getting targeted is probably the most independent, moderate, members of Congress is the one that's targeted, and they're taking out his district, right?
They're taking out his district.
Why? Because he registered as a Republican, right? It's not in...
Well, he's been a reliable vote 98% of the time voting with Trump, so even if he says he's an independent. Now, look, I was able to look through his record and find some pretty moderate votes in there and some bipartisan stuff in his record.